Carrying a chair, I trailed behind the robbers down the street. Imagine my friends, he chuckled. Me, pretending to be one of them. His listeners gasped. Suddenly, the group encountered a police patrol. Malicopo paused for a breath as he needed to imitate someone in his next sentence. A bright flashlight in front beamed on us, and a police officer shouted, "Thieves, ah! Where are you taking all these goods in the dead of night?" I knew the gang leader was paralyzed with fear. Hearing the word thieves implied I was, that night, going to be arrested as a thief. I had to think quickly. In a stroke of brilliance, I stepped forward. "Buona, officer," I said confidently. "I am Malicopo from Laquesa village. We were helping my cousin move to his new house in the mining quarters. But we got lost. We are tired of roaming. Please, do you know this address?" Malicopo described to his audience that the officers scrutinized him and the gang, but Malicopo's calm demeanor and village accent worked magic. "Move along then," the officer said, waving at us. The officers naturally had some at the rear of the gang, with the head officer at the front advancing according to the provided address. Malicopo then described how, upon arrival at the house, Bwalia's wife, Lukunda, was at the veranda wailing over the lost properties like it was a funeral. When Bwalia saw the approaching police officers, illuminated by the light at the street corner, he leaped forward and began a sprint to declare his distress to them. I could tell that Bwalia intended to alert the officers of his loss. I broke the single file and advanced to the house and closer to Bwalia. I abruptly interrupted Bwalia before he could catch his breath to explain the theft to the police. Bwalia?" I screamed. "We lost our way after you left us behind. Luckily, these officers helped us find the house. Now, show my friends where to place everything." In the dim streetlights, Bwalia froze in his steps and gaped in a stupor as he recognized the gang and the distinct build and posture of their leader. The echo of his cousin's words automatically directed his gait to the door. From near the entrance, he directed each of the robbers to place each item that had just been stolen back to exactly where it was before the robbery. His final command was to Malicopo, "And you put that chair over here." I swiftly turned to face the gang leader, but directed my words to the lead police officer. "Buona, officer. You have saved us. We could have been attacked by robbers without you. Now you can escort my helpful friends back to the main bus station. I have already paid them for the amazing help they have just given us. Thank you very much and goodbye." At this point, the robbers were all silently making their way back to the street. No sight of any weapon tools they previously carried was evident. I moved to the veranda wondering whether they had concealed them in the clothing or dumped them along the way to the house. But that was irrelevant now because I had managed to save and recover all my cousin's belongings. The villagers erupted in laughter, marveling at Malicopo's wit and quick thinking. The outer circle of villagers was disruptive, and Malicopo was quick to elevate himself to see beyond the circle into the moonlit clearing and growth. It was not unknown that lions, leopards, and pythons broke out of the vegetative surroundings and grabbed a human victim or a domestic animal like a goat, chicken, or sheep. Sometimes, poisonous spitters or fanged slitherers would have to be dealt with whilst avoiding casualties. Although his tale of bravery and quick wit was met with cheers and a renewed rhythm on the drums, the readiness to deal with danger could not be overlooked. Even as the women ululated and the men clapped their hands in admiration of another legendary story, Malicopo signaled to his nephew, Machenga, "Scout the distant shadowy movement near the water well." There was no hesitation as Machenga added a panga to his knife blade arsenal. Machenga's mission and purpose caused the laughter to dwindle a little as some villagers noticed the exchange. Before he ventured far, a faint sound of hooves and wheels crunching on the dirt path drifted into the village from the direction Machenga was headed. Heads turned as the noise got louder. Emerging from the shadows into the flickering firelight, a cart appeared, drawn by a pair of donkeys. On it sat Bwalia, his wife Lukunda, and their 3 children, their eyes wide with curiosity and delight at the lively scene before them. The villagers gasped in recognition, and then a wave of excitement rippled through the crowd. "Bwalia! Lukunda! You've come!" Malicopo beamed, his face glowing with joy. He rushed toward the cart, his cousin leaping down to meet him in a warm embrace. "We wanted to surprise you, Uncle Malicopo," Walia said, his voice barely audible over the renewed buzz of the crowd. "Your letter finally reached us, and we couldn't wait any longer. We had to come and see for ourselves the famous gatherings you've been hosting." Malicopo laughed heartily, clapping his cousin on the back. "You have arrived at the perfect moment," he said, guiding the family toward the central fire. "Now you can tell your version of the story, and perhaps add a new one tonight." The villagers eagerly made space, offering seats and plates of food to the visitors. Walia's children stared wide-eyed at the scene, while Akunda smiled, grateful for the warm welcome. As the family settled in, Malicopo raised his voice above the chatter. "Tonight, my brothers and sisters, we have even more reason to celebrate. Let us welcome Walia and his family, who have traveled far to join us." A deafening cheer erupted, followed by a fresh round of drumming and dancing. The firelight danced off smiling faces, and the night stretched on in a joyful celebration of family, resilience, and the ties that bound them all together.